Hi everybody, it's David here. Just wanted to get in touch with you and bring you a message on behalf of the eldership team here at Gateway Church. And we wanted to talk to you particularly about the cost of living crisis that we are facing at the moment here in the UK. We are seeing a lot about this in the news, and I'm sure if you're like me, be having lots and lots of conversations at the moment with friends and colleagues and people that we are close to about how much everything is costing at the moment, how food prices are going up, how gas and electricity prices are going up, how Christmas is coming up, and we're not sure how we're going to pay for that. And there's a lot of financial anxiety. People are getting very worried about how much things are costing these days. And we're expecting that this is a challenge that's going to be with us for some time, that many of us, whatever our income is, are going to be facing a real challenge financially over the months and years ahead. And so we just wanted to send a message out to you guys, some of our thoughts and reflections on this and some encouragements as to how we can walk through times like this as Christians and stand out and be different to the world around us. First of all, we just really wanted to encourage you that this is something that God's been speaking to us about a lot prophetically through trusted prophetic people who are part of our Christ Central family of churches, people within Gateway as well, and from further afield. God is speaking to us really clearly in this time and encouraging us that he has a plan and a purpose for us, for his people, for his church during these challenging times. One of the recurring Bible passages that keeps coming up time and time again is from the first few verses of Isaiah chapter 60. Which says, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. See, darkness covers the earth, and thick darkness is over the peoples. But the Lord rises upon you, and his glory appears over you. Nations will come to your light, and kings will come to the brightness of your dawn." And I think it's a really powerful passage that speaks to us of the dark times that we're in. This passage of Isaiah is talking about dark times that God's people have experienced in the past, but that God has real plans and purposes in those times, and that often when times are dark, that's when he shines the brightest, and he shines through us individually as Christians and through his church. And we really believe that if we hold on to the hope that we have in Jesus during these times, if we are not putting our trust in our income or being able to pay the bills or being able to keep our homes warm or many of the other things that people around us in the world put their trust in. But if we put our trust in Jesus and hold on to him, then we'll have a light and a peace about us as Christians that other people will want to know a lot more about. And so we just wanted to encourage you to do that, to hold on to Jesus, to hold on to that hope that even though times may be challenging and difficult, he promises never to leave us or forsake us. That we have a hope and a future because of him. And that people around us may well notice that in us. They will notice the hope and the light that we bring, and they will want to ask questions and find out more about the hope that we have. So let's be praying that happens, and let's be expecting people around us to ask, hey, why are you different? Why have you got that peace? Why are you not stressed about these things? And then there's an open door, isn't there, to talk about Jesus and the hope that we have in him. Other practical ways that we can respond to this time, we really wanted to encourage all of us who are part of Gateway to stay connected and to stick together through this challenging season. Let's not give up meeting together. Let's keep committed to life groups, to Sundays, to powerhouses, as well as to just building strong relationships and friendships within Gateway. It's one of the amazing strengths of church is that we care for each other, that we carry one another's burdens, that we share with one another when times are tough. And we try to ensure that there's no needy people among us, as they did in the first few chapters of Acts in the New Testament, when we hear about the birth of the church and all the amazing things that God did there. And in fact, reading those first couple of chapters of Acts is a good starting point if you want to be inspired and really think about how can church look in challenging times. I encourage you to get into Acts and read all about the amazing things that God did as people stayed true to one another and stayed true to him. The second practical thing that we can do in these times is to stay generous. And Natalie Williams, who leads Jubilee Plus, said something that really stood out to me at a recent conference. And she said the best way to combat financial anxiety is to be generous. And I just think that's so true. A really big risk from going through tough times is that we get consumed with our own stuff, with our own worries, with our own anxiety. And actually we can combat that by looking outwards, by staying aware of our neighbours, our families, others in our church, where we work, who might also be in need. And of course, we might not always have money to help other people. We might not have finances to be able to give away, but we can be generous in so many other ways, can't we? We can be generous with our time, with our attention, with our conversation, with practical things like sharing our belongings, practicing hospitality. We can pray for one another. We can encourage each other. So let's stay generous during these times. Thanks to our recent special offering, which is an amazing example of generosity. Thank you to everybody that gave to that. Gateway is going to be continuing to run our food bank on a Monday, our fuel bank service. We're going to be running Make Lunch during the school holidays. We're going to be continuing to run our community cafe, our Chill Zone Youth Club. And they're all examples of ways that you can get involved and be generous. If you would like to be generous with your time in this season, then we'd love to hear from you. Get in touch, drop us an email at office@gatewayleeds.net. And we'd love more people to help us with running those things. We know that our local community around St. Mark's, there's going to be a lot of need there. And so we need more people who can come and help out. And if you'd like to do that, we'd love to hear from you. The third practical thing that we can do is get used to asking for help. And this might be something that's more difficult for some than it is for others, especially if we're not used to struggling financially. But maybe we're finding that we suddenly are. This can be a tricky thing, but actually now is a really good time for us to put into practice one of our key values at Gateway, which is that it's okay not to be okay. And actually God gives us one another. God gives us his church in this time to look out for one another, to pray for one another, and to help each other practically. And so if you are struggling, if you do need help, then please do ask. There's a really specific practical way that the Gateway Church can help actually as well, is that we have something called a pastoral fund, which is part of our normal budget at Gateway. It's something that we do every year. And this is a small pot of money that we have available to help people who might be struggling financially or in a variety of other ways. So if you do find yourself, or if you know of somebody who's in a position where just don't know where the next meal's coming from, where you're going to be able to pay the next bill from, then please do speak up. Please don't suffer in silence. Speak with a trusted leader here at Gateway, maybe your life group leader or your cluster leader, or somebody who leads one of your gatherings, and they can pass on to us as an eldership team if there's a specific need there financially. We'd love to be able to help out in whatever way we can. Obviously, we don't have unlimited funds in that, but we'd love to talk about it at least and see if we can help. And then finally, and most importantly, just wanted to encourage us to keep praying during this season. Obviously, it's the most important one. We know that prayer changes things, and God does a lot when we come to him and ask him for help. And so just encourage us, let's keep praying during these hard times. Let's pray for God's protection, particularly for the most needy and most vulnerable in our communities. They will be hit the hardest yet again after COVID and after previous financial challenges. Once again, it'll be those who are on low incomes, those who are struggling to put food on the table, that are going to be hit hardest by these times. So pray for protection for them. Pray for our local and national governments. Pray for wise and compassionate decisions when it comes to how to combat these financial challenges that we're facing. And let's continue to pray for ourselves as well. Let's continue to pray for Gateway and for one another as brothers and sisters, that as we go about the world, into our workplaces, into schools and universities, that we do stand out as different, that we do have this hope that Jesus gives us that leads to people asking and wanting to find out more about Jesus, and actually be in faith that during this time, there's a time where God's church can grow and flourish, even as many are struggling in our world. That's all from me for now. Thanks very much for listening. Have a great week wherever you are. God bless.